Let me break out the canvas for that ass. So like here. This is. Oh, that's not good. Self-quarantine, you already know I'm alone every day. This is the iceberg, right? There's the iceberg. Can I change the color of this? There we go. We'll keep it white. Hold on. Let me cook. Let me cook. Swisher, you always have to make it fucking sus, dude. Just let me goddamn cook. Okay? Just let me fucking cook, dude. Okay. So, here we have the id. And here we have the ego. Okay. So, the id is like dreams, ideals, desires, right? And then the ego is nurture, trauma, experience, right? Do it like this. I ain't got time for gold diggers, older bitter. See my bitch, she a gold. That looks nice. Okay. So, basically, you're born, right? You're a tiny little piece of ice, right? You start off as a tiny little piece of, tiny little piece of ice like that. Okay? Let's make that white to signify it's ice. Start off like that, like a little fucking ice, piece of ice, right? And then over time, you get bigger and bigger and bigger, bigger and bigger and bigger until you turn into the fucking iceberg we see here, right? And most of that comes from this, right? How you're raised, how you're nurtured, trauma and experience, which is what happens and how you internalize it, right? This whole shit influences the top part, which is the id, right? That basically, because of your experiences and your trauma, you want things, you have certain opinions and ideals of things, and you aspire to be certain things, all based on this shit, the ego. And sexuality comes into it because sexuality is one of like our... No, I'm not. I'm saying that a lot, like, I'm saying that some of it has to do with your, like, you, but a lot of it is from your experience and trauma, which then, because the whole thing is that people think that being gay is, like, entirely part of you, right? It's like, I was born gay, which I think genetically, you could be predisposed to feeling that way, but it basically comes from a trauma inside of you that like activates that genetic so basically it's both, that it is part of you, but also it's partly due to your experiences. And I'm not saying that it's like something you need to fix or whatever. I'm just saying that that's where it comes from. Like there's a reason for why people are like that, okay? This guy will never let me fucking cook, bro. And so And I don't know if you guys were here for the example of a city, right? So basically, the city of Rome was once a tiny little fucking village, and then it expanded into the Holy Roman Empire. And then eventually, right, the empire fell, like buildings collapsed, and then like we still have remnants of that, right? It's like the ruins of the city of Rome, which some of that still exists today. Those ruins that still exist are traumas, and if you don't fully demolish them and terraform the land, it's like it's gonna be inside of you. A lot of that ego shit that's on the bottom is not it's unconscious, right? Like this ultimately is your conscious, right? All of this shit right here goes to your conscious. This shit right here is your subconscious. So, as you can see, your subconscious is way bigger and more important to who you are than your conscious, right? Even though you consciously think all day, like all day I'm fucking conscious on stream, fucking talking and looking and reacting and shit. But the conscious, all of this conscious shit comes from a way bigger subconscious. And so basically, right, in order to understand your conscious, you have to dig deep into your subconscious. That's why yo, Baron, shut the fuck up, dude. If you listen to this, listen, you guys could fucking say that this is bullshit or whatever, but you're gonna come back in a year, 2 years, or 5 years, whatever, and you're gonna wish that you fucking listened to this shit, because this shit is crazy game. I mean, a lot of the problem with society now is that we don't acknowledge any of this, right? We say that like, oh yeah, this is who I am, this is who I'm a toaster, and that's my gender, and like we have to accept that, right? Oh, I guess your gender is a toaster, right? But they never want to go into the subconscious. They never want to actually go into the trauma and try and heal it. And because of that we have this society. Dr. Goonie healing homosexuals. No, because I'm not trying to change anyone's mind or whatever, but I think that society nowadays does not talk about any of this shit, you know what I mean? Like, you might have heard id and ego before, but like an actual application of it, I think, is very foreign to a lot of people. You know, most people have heard these concepts in a history book, and that's it, you know. But I think it's important to like go back, because I did this a while ago, and like it completely changed me as a person when I started to look at my previous traumas and shit, and like here, okay, let's write it out, right? This was me. This is the old Goonie, right? Super dependent on parents' approval. Like I was always fucking like seeking my parents' approval. Like I was always preoccupied with making sure my parents were happy. Like if my parents said to do something, I would always try and do it. And like if they were mad at me, I would really take that to heart. Like I'd be like, why are they fucking so mad at me? Like I'm trying my best, but you know, they're still mad at me. They're always yelling at me, and they're always telling me that I'm fucking shit and that I'm fucking up and that I'm pissing away my life. And that would always really hurt me. Like I'd always get really upset about that shit. Like people pleasing with women, right? Basically, or let's call it nice guy method. I was always trying, because my belief was that guys always have to be super respectful to women, right? Chivalry. You have to, whatever she says, you know, you should like you should go with it, you know. Fucking yeah, right. This is below the iceberg. I always was really fucking worried about girls, in the sense that, like, if a girl said to stop doing something, I would immediately stop doing it, right? If, let's say, like, I shaved my beard and I left the mustache and a girl was like, ew, I don't like that mustache, I would immediately shave it off, like, without even a second thought, and I would never do it again, right? They were probably pissed because they sacrificed their own. Swisha, you're missing the point, right? You're missing the point. I'm not saying why they were pissed or anything. I'm just talking about me, right? How I internalized this shit. So basically, I was super people pleasing with, like, my family, like my parents, and like girls, right? I would be really people pleasing with girls, because if they ever told me to do something, like, I would do it, because I thought, like, oh shit, if I listen to what she's saying, then maybe maybe she'll like me more, and then we'll have a better relationship, right? Anyway, super dependent on friends, right? Denny will tell you this. Like, I used to be so fucking dependent on friends. Like, you know, if Denny didn't want to chill one day, I would get fucking, like, pissed. You know what I mean? And Denny can even attest to that now. Where it's, hold on, because I'm cooking. Dude, come on, dude.
Bro,
I'm cooking, bro. Let me fucking cook. I'm in a flow state right now. I was always super dependent on friends. Like, just fucking getting pissed off, like, if they didn't want to chill, or, like, didn't want to do what I wanted to do or whatever, and, like, I would try and I held my friends on a pedestal. It's like, oh, Denny's so great, like, you know, we make music together, and, like, I want to do this shit all the time, like, I never want to stop. And basically, if I didn't get that, I would be fucking sad. Like, oh shit, like, I have nothing to do now if I can't fucking hang out with my friends. Like, what the fuck? Escapism. Like, for a long time, I fucking smoked weed every single day. Loved to get drunk as fuck, and just, like, putting off responsibilities, like, just, you know, oh, fuck school, bro. There was a while where I was enrolled in school and I just wouldn't go to class. I thought it was stupid. I'm like, I'll figure this shit out later. You know, life is whatever, like, I don't give a fuck, life sucks, so I'm gonna fucking enjoy it anyway, which I guess I wasn't even really doing. I was mostly just coping and, like, avoiding the responsibilities, which is fucking stupid. Like, you shouldn't do that, right? You should take charge of your life and not put things off. Like, I've said this before, like, you should always, if a problem arises, you should take care of it the second you think about it and not put it off, right? What's up, Spyros? Goonie's giving a little lesson, so shut the fuck up and listen real quick. So, right, I could go on with a lot of this shit. What the fuck? I could go on, right, with more examples and shit. But as you look at all of these things, right, what does all of this culminate to? Like, if you were to diagnose every single one of these points, it all stems from one thing. Oh, well, let's say two things, right? Lack of self-efficacy. This was the problem. I lacked self-efficacy, which if we look up the definition of self-efficacy, it's the individual's belief in their capacity to act in the ways necessary to reach specific goals. Okay? So basically, self-efficacy is, it's your belief in the ability to do something. So if you look at the pull-up bar up there and say, "Oh, I'm gonna bust out 10 pull-ups right now," it doesn't even matter if you can do it. We're not even talking about the actual ability to do it. It's simply the belief in which you can do it. So if I look at the pull-up bar and say, "Bro, I can bust out 10 pull-ups easily, bro. Light work, light work." I have a high self-efficacy in that field. If I look at the pull-up bar and say, "Oh, I can't even touch that thing. Like I'm not even gonna look at it because I can't do one pull-up." That's a low self-efficacy, right? And that stems into the dependency on others. So I was super dependent on my parents because I felt like I was much less than them, right? I would put them on a pedestal and be like, "Oh, my parents are so amazing. Like, I need to always, like, respect them and pay it back to them because they give me such a wonderful life, and I'm forever grateful to them." And so I manifested into an unhealthy relationship of, like, basically being a people pleaser, but not actually, like, trying my hardest. And whenever it went wrong, I would just take it out on myself, right? The same thing happened with girls, right? When I would be super fucking nice to girls and do everything they say, but they still acted like bitches and, fucked me over in a myriad of ways, I would take it out on myself and be like, "Oh, damn, I guess it's because I'm a stupid fucking bitch, and that's why she doesn't like me, like, da-da-da." And then because, like, I was taking it out on myself, it would just make me feel worse and worse and worse and spiral. And because I wanted that, because I had that dependency on girls. The same thing with friends, right? It's like I would put my friends up on a pedestal, and basically I felt like unworthy to hang around them. So I would be super fucking grateful to hang around them, and it developed into a dependency on them. So once I really looked at my life, and I looked at, like, specific moments, not just like a overall, because you need to look at the overall, but once I looked at specific moments where I saw this happening in real time, it, like, unlocked a fucking door in my head, and I was like, "Yo, that's the problem. It's because of all of these little moments." And bro, it could be something as stupid. I remember when I was really little, right? I would always, like when we go out to restaurants and shit, like, my parents would be sitting down at the table. I would get up and go start talking to other people. I would just go, like, there'd be another family sitting at the restaurant, and I would just get up and go start talking to them like they were my parents and shit. And I remember one day we were at the mall, and I wandered off, right? And I vaguely remember, we were sitting at the food court area with me. It was like me, my mom, my sister, and, like, our babysitter, or, like, whatever. And I go and just walk off, like, start talking to other people, and eventually I wandered off to the arcade, which was, like, across the food court. And my mom was freaking the fuck out, right? Like, "Oh my God, where is he? Where is he? Where is he?" And eventually they found me at the arcade, and my mom fucking she yelled at my ass, bro. It's shit like that where it'll create a subtle trauma in you, and the more and more things like that happen, the more and more these types of behaviors will occur. And so basically, right, with the whole inner healing thing, right, basically inner healing is looking at this shit right here, all of this shit, right? So that you can figure out what the fucking problem is. And then once you figure out what happened, and what it has led to, you're able. That's what terraforming the fucking old ancient Rome is. That is how you actually make a change. You can try and, like, let's say this is the city, right? And like there's the ruins here and shit, and then there's like fucking buildings and shit. You can try and add more buildings to the city, but guess what? The fucking trauma is still there, right? It's still there. Even though you're adding like healthy habits, like let's say like the gym, let's say like fucking studying, let's say even like meditation, right? Because you can meditate but not fully inner heal, and then you're kind of just ignoring the problem, which is the ruins right here. Unless you fully terraform the ruins, which is finding the problem and then fully deleting it and terraforming the land, it's still gonna be there. And so that's why you need to do this. And that's ultimately what this is this is a diagram of like your subconscious and your conscious, and you have to break the conscious and go into the subconscious to find out why you do the things you consciously do. And that's my fucking lesson for the day. Clip that shit, bitch.